Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Jacob Stan, and I love reading and telling stories to kids of all ages. So if you thought things couldn't get any creepier after part 2, well, buckle up, because tonight it gets a whole lot darker. The ring's back, and it's like she's got a hold of me that I can't break. But this time, it's not just about me anymore. This is where things start to get dangerous. I couldn't believe what had happened. I threw the ring into the river. I saw it sink. I heard the splash as it hit the water. I told myself that it was over, that whatever twisted connection there was between me and that woman, whatever pull she had on me, it was finally gone. But when I came home that night, I knew deep down that it wasn't over. My heart sank when I walked into my apartment. The air felt wrong, like there was a coldness to it that hadn't been there before. The lights flickered overhead, and for a moment, everything seemed to pause, like time itself was holding its breath. And then I saw it. The ring. It was sitting right there on my nightstand, exactly where it had been before. The same ring. The same old gold wedding band that I had thrown into the river just hours ago. My blood ran cold. I didn't even need to touch it to know it was the same ring. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like a message. It was like she was saying,
I am not done with you yet.
I sat down on the edge of the bed, staring at it. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of it. Maybe I had never thrown it in the river at all. Maybe it had just slipped out of my pocket. But no, I remembered that moment vividly. The cold water, the way the ring sank beneath the surface, disappearing into the depths. There was no way it could have come back. But somehow, it had, and now it was waiting for me. I reached out cautiously, my hand trembling as I picked it up. The moment my fingers brushed against the cold metal, I felt a sharp jolt of electricity run through me. It wasn't like static, it was different. It was as though the ring itself was alive. I almost dropped it, but somehow I couldn't. It felt like it was pulling me in, like it was calling to me. Then I heard her voice. It was faint, like a whisper in the wind, but there was no mistaking it. It was her. Eleanor.
You are mine.
These words sent a shiver through me, and for the first time, I felt that cold, electric pull again, stronger this time. It was as if she was right there in the room with me, her presence overwhelming, suffocating me. I slammed the ring back down on the nightstand, backing away as fast as I could. My breathing was erratic, my chest tight with fear. I had to get out of there. I had to leave before things got worse. But just as I turned to grab my jacket, the room grew colder. I swear I felt something brush against my neck, like a soft, icy breath. I spun around, but the room was empty. Just me, alone. And yet, I wasn't alone. That's when the lights flickered again, only this time they didn't come back on. I was left in darkness. Suddenly I felt it. That cold, suffocating presence. She was there. I could feel her watching me, just out of sight. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I couldn't move. I was frozen in place, paralyzed by fear. Then, without warning, the door to my apartment slammed shut. The sound was deafening, and for a moment I thought the walls were going to cave in. I rushed to the door, fumbling with the lock, but the handle wouldn't budge. No matter how hard I twisted it, it stayed stuck, as though something or someone was holding it shut from the other side. I pounded on the door, shouting for help, but my voice felt weak, as if it was being swallowed by the thick, heavy air. And that's when I heard it, a soft, mournful tune, just like the one I had heard in the graveyard. But this time, it wasn't outside, it was inside. Right there in the room with me. The singing was so soft, so distant, yet so close, and it sent a chill down my spine. It was as though it was coming from all around me, from the walls, from the air itself. It was her, Eleanor. She was singing to me. I don't know how long I stood there, trapped in that suffocating darkness, the sound of her voice filling every corner of the room. It felt like an eternity, and the worst part, I could feel her. Her presence was everywhere. I couldn't escape it. Finally, the door clicked, the handle turned, and I bolted out of the room without even thinking. I didn't care where I went, I just had to get away from there. I ran down the stairs, into the street, and I didn't stop until I was a few blocks away, gasping for air, but even then I knew I wasn't free. She was still out there, and she was waiting for me. I tried to call Mark. I had to tell someone to ask them what the hell was happening to me, but my phone was dead, completely drained, despite the fact that I had charged it earlier that day. That's when I saw it, in the reflection of a store window across the street. I saw her. Her face was pressed against the glass, staring at me. Her eyes, those piercing blue eyes, burned through me, and I could see her lips moving. She was closer than ever before.
Where are you running to, honey?
Alright guys, that's it for part 3. I don't know about you, but this is getting way out of hand. What do you think? Am I losing my mind, or is she really following me? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss part 4. Trust me, you're gonna want to be here for the next one. Who knows what Eleanor's gonna do next?